Unstoppable kick-ass confidence. Are you ready?
Welcome to the Raw and Unscripted Show with Christopher Rausch, where we help you overcome your self-created crap without the self-help fluffy bullshit. Now please welcome our host, Christopher Rausch.
And please welcome our host, Christopher Rausch. What's going on, rock stars? Hello. Welcome back to the Raw and Unscripted Podcast with yours truly, Christopher Rausch, your no excuses coach. And you are here at your place where we help you open your perspectives, change your beliefs, gain some confidence, kick some ass, and live an authentic life. Thank you so much for joining us, whether you're on the podcast or, of course, you're on the weekly live video cast that we do every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because that way when I speak colorfully, the kids won't be around listening if you're watching live on the video cast. But if you watch live on the video cast, you guys get to ask me questions on the fly. And we're going to try a new feature tonight on the video cast where the comments are going to show up, I think automatically. It's a new feature here on StreamYard, but that doesn't concern you. Tonight, we're talking about letting go of who we were to become who we truly are. And I want to read you a quote to get us started tonight. You're not stuck. You're resisting who you're meant to become. I'm going to say that again because it hit me right between the eyes when I found it. You're not stuck. You're resisting who you're meant to become. And in tonight's conversation, we're talking about letting go of who we were supposed to become, who we thought we were, in order to really embrace who we are. And so tonight's episode is going to be multifaceted, if you will, because we're going to talk about that. I'm going to share some stuff with you. Number one, thank you for letting me know that my vulnerability podcast, where I shared my vulnerabilities and talked about the stuff that was going on in my life. Thank you so much for giving me the positive feedback and letting me know that you appreciate that. I will do more of that. I do that on my shows anyway, but that was a very intentional show talking about what's going on. So I'm going to kind of give you a peek behind the curtain more here on the Raw Unscripted Show, because this is a conversation with you and I'm not talking at you. And it's not like I have all the answers and I've got everything figured out. Granted, I know a lot of things about personal mindset, about personal discipline and changing your beliefs and thought patterns and things of that nature, but I'm still human. So again, thinking about letting go of who we thought we were supposed to become in order to become who we truly are. And then that quote, you're not stuck, you're resisting who you're meant to become. Like, think about that for a second. What are you resisting right now? Think about that. I want you to write that down. What am I resisting right now? And you're not going to be able to necessarily answer it here on the podcast tonight, but I want you to consider that. I want you to put it on a sticky note and stick it on your monitor and then consider it for about 7 days and say, what have I been resisting lately? Maybe getting out of my comfort zone. Maybe I've been resisting the truth. This is something that's big that's going on with my clients and with a lot of people that I interact with, is that I know what I'm supposed to do, but I'm not doing it. I know what I'm supposed to do, but I'm not doing it. Have you ever said those words? Maybe perhaps recently. So tonight we'll give you some clarification. We're going to be sharing with you some specific exercises. This is going to be more of a teaching, kind of giving you hands-on things that you can do in order to boost your creativity if you're stuck, and having that conversation about, as I share these things with you, about who we are. And perhaps you're like me, I'm 56, maybe you're in your 40s or 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever it might be. We're in a different phase of our life. And I wish somebody would have sat me down and said, okay, Chris, kind of like life school. Like, okay, Chris, you're gonna be in your 20s and you're gonna be full of piss and vinegar. You're gonna want to procreate and you're gonna drink and you're gonna have a good time. And you're gonna establish your career. And then in your 30s and 40s, you're gonna kind of be chasing everything. You're gonna be doing well. You're gonna increase your income and all these different things. But then in your 50s and your 60s, you're gonna kind of look at everything and go, what's most important? And I have found, quite honestly, guys, what's important changes. But here's the kicker. And I know that. I know a lot of things changes and everything's in constant flow. But when things change, it's that receptivity to being in that moment to sit there and say, okay, I'm going to embrace this new fork in the road, if you will. All right. When you think back on your life, there have been many forks in your road. Like, oh, maybe if I didn't go out that night, I didn't meet my husband or my wife. Oh, maybe if I didn't take that job, I wouldn't have traveled and da-da-da-da. All these different things that happen in our life, but so often we try to control it. Like, okay, I'm at this fork in the road. What's going to yield me the best return for my profit and what's going to, get me more money and get more fame and all this other stuff. But when you get to be 50 and 60, you start looking at it and go, okay, I've had the money. I've had the looks, I've had the success, I've had the validation, I've had the impact, I've had all these different things, the career, the master's degree, the hero's journey story, if you will, for me being, a homeless dropout. So at this point in my life, I'm sitting here going, I feel like I'm slowing down, and I've been on this purpose and this path to find more inner peace and to be more still and be more present with life, because I've always been on the go. I've always been that guy that's being successful and accomplishing things and proving and validation and impacting and all that stuff. And I'm finding myself now taking a little breather, and it's kind of nice. But I'm going to share something with you. I'll put it in the let me think. I'll put it in the comments right now for you guys to check out. But I watched a video. I'm constantly watching videos on YouTube and learning and, and figuring out what's something that I can do differently in my life. And I watched this video, and I actually scrolled past it, to be honest with you. I scrolled past it and I looked at the title. I'm like, yeah, that sounds kind of interesting. Let me see what else there is. And then perhaps I'll go back to it. And then I come back to it again, and I looked at it, and I'm like, oh, it's probably one of those, the way it looked, it's probably one of those things where it just talks and then it scrolls words at the bottom. So I'm going to put this in the chat for you guys live or watching the replay. It's about 15 minutes long. I watched it with my coaching clients, my group coaching clients. You guys know I have a group coaching program, in case you didn't know. It's pretty spectacular. It's cool. So we watched it, and then we had a conversation afterwards about it. And it was pretty interesting. And both of my, both of the people that I knew would responded to it. And they're like, yeah, dude, yeah, this is exactly what I needed to hear. And it's talking about, like I titled the episode, it's the death of self, right? So often we think this is who I'm supposed to become, right? Oh, I'm supposed to be this musician, or I'm supposed to be this professional speaker. I'm supposed to be this, ballet dancer, whatever it might be. But then ultimately we kind of get to that fork in our road, and we kind of start looking back on our life and like, is all the effort worth it? Do I really need that validation? Where am I at now in my life? Right? That might be a great question to ask yourself, is where am I at now in my life? And what possibly is life speaking to me again that I'm resisting or I'm choosing not to listen to? And again, it goes back to that truth. It goes back to the truth. So the big conversation out of all of this is be more honest with yourself. Be more honest with yourself in where you're at, in, your timeline of things. I've been very honest with myself. I figure I got another 20 years. I'm 56, average life expectancy, 76, 78. Obviously with technology and things of that nature, there's a chance that I could live to be 140. So I'm looking at that aspect as well, but I'm also realistic, and I'm realizing this is a part of life, and I can choose to fight it, or I could choose to embrace it. And I choose to embrace it because I'm not about the stress. I'm not about the anger. I'm not about the fighting and resisting. I'm more about the flow. And that's half the reason why I went from being a suit and tie speaker to being who I am right now, with the hat backwards and the bandana and just saying what I want to say and being raw and unscripted, being unstoppable, being my sarcastic, smart ass self. Is that constant evolution of being able to be good and be better actually with the moments without having to dress them up. Right. So oftentimes we think we have to dress them up, or we have to be, the know-it-all in the room. We have to be this person in the room. I'm inviting you in this point of your life, wherever you're at, even if you're in your 30s or in your 20s, you're listening to this, like proactively sit there and look around and go, okay, what are the successful people doing? And then you get to and then talk to the older successful people. I encourage you to find people in their 60s and 70s and ask them, what's your big regret in life? And then sit back and listen. Don't listen with the intent of responding. Listen with the intent of asking deeper questions. And I'm sure you're going to find, my young friends, that you're going to be inspired to think a little bit differently. But I also say that with this in mind, that everything happens for a reason. And this life that we're on is this gradual ebb and flow, and that you got to ride the waves. You can't fight it. So now we're going to be talking about the ego that keeps us stuck in survivor mode. We're also going to be talking about the surrender that feels like death but leads to rebirth. Also that quiet hell in between who we were and who we're becoming, which is where I'm at right now. And then lastly, why chasing the old version of yourself is what's keeping you from the life that you want. So let's get right into it. I'm going to give you guys first some exercises that you can do, and you can pick any one of these that you want. No particular order. I've used many of them. A couple of them are new in my arsenal that I researched because I'm constantly learning to see what else that it is we can do, and then applying it to myself. So if you guys are watching and you're watching live, feel free to ask me any questions. I see there it is on the screen. The comments are over there on the right hand side. It says, hello, Christopher. What's going on, Robert Broker? Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, brother, from the bottom of my heart. Here is the link. I will put it in the podcast episode notes. It's not my video, it's somebody else's video. So I'll do all the, making sure we know who it is and all that happy shit. Myrna, what's up? Thank you so much. She says, Chris, hello. Thank you so much for being here. If you guys are just coming into the conversation, go back and listen to the beginning of it because it's all tying together. But without any further ado, let's get right into it. These are some cool exercises that can, and as we go through them, I'll kind of explain what it might provide you in terms of clarity, purpose, and whatever else it might be. The first one I call is role storming. Like, there's brainstorming, but there's also role storming. And the way I look at this is we've all got someone or someones in our life that we love and admire and respect, right? It might be by our peepaw, our grandpa, whatever you want to call them. It might be our dad. It might be our mom, it might be our aunt, it might be our best friend. It might be our first grade teacher, whoever it might be for you. In this particular exercise, when you have a situation going on in your life, right? You think about the challenges that you have. They're opportunities, really. They're not problems, they're opportunities. When you think about them, and you might have that person in your life where you can call them today and say, hey, listen, I'm having this problem with my finances. I'm having a problem with this relationship. I'm having a problem with my perspective on health. I feel like giving up, whatever it might be for you. If you have that person, call them, obviously, and talk to them, because that's the greatest gift that you can possibly have is asking the question, feeling vulnerable, and then listening, and then taking action on what it is that you want to do. But for a lot of people, those people aren't there anymore. For me, my two people, there's many people, but one of them is Dana Stewart, which was my boss when I was in corporate. He taught me a lot about leadership and discipline and communication and all sorts of different things. And then also Bill White, who, as you guys know, if you've been listening to the podcast any length of time, I have a quote on my arm that says, you're only limited by the parameters of your own mind. And it says WTW, which stands for William T. White. So those two people in my life, I know in my heart of hearts that they were sitting here right in front of me in my studio. And I said, hey guys, I'm having a challenge with being a dad. My son's 8 years old, blah, 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 blah. What do you guys think? I have no doubt that both of those gentlemen would respond verbosely. They would talk a lot. They would have a lot to say about the raising of kids, because they both did a great job of raising their kids. So when you do this role storming thing, you kind of sit there and say, okay, and I know Dana and I know Bill. Bill's been dead now for 26 years, I think. Dana, our lives have gotten apart from one another, which is fine. It happens. Reason season in our lifetime. I know if I called him tomorrow, he would be there. And I have. So let's dial this back in. So when you think about role storming, what would Dana tell me? Or what would Bill tell me? Or what would Jock tell me? Or what would Walt tell me? Or what would my friend John tell me? Or what would Pam tell me? Or what would anybody that I talk to on a regular basis, and I talk to a lot of people, what would that person tell me? And then be honest with ourselves and be receptive to ourselves to sit there and say, okay, let me give that a shot, right? It may be uncomfortable. And our mentors, like myself to you, will push you out of your comfort zone. We'll sit there and say, hey, why don't you do this? My former boss, Yvonne Chavaria, she did that too. She's like, have you thought about buying a house? I'm like, are you fucking crazy? And then she guided me through buying a house, and I was able to purchase a house when I didn't think I could. So we want our mentors in our life to push us. So give yourself permission to listen to that person's voice, or again, talk to them and ask them for their honest feedback, and then take that action in your life. You got permission to do it. Go do it. So that's role storming. The next one is called start, stop, continue. So essentially what I wrote down here is start. So what new habits, what new beliefs or risks do I need to start in order to become who I say I want to be? Next one is stop. What is draining me? What's distracting me or making me play small? And then lastly, continue. What's already working that I should double down on? So again, what can I start? What can I stop? And what can I continue? And we don't ever really sit down. And again, I'm going to tell you guys till I'm blue in the fucking face, write it down. Write it down, not computer. You take out a pen and paper. You can get them on Amazon for like $8. You get a whole slew of them. You can have this size or you can have this size. See, 8.5 by 11. Sorry, guys, for listening on the podcast in 30 something countries. Thank you. Or 8.5 by 5, I think it is. So I'm a fan of writing things down. As you can see, I'm not going to give you all my notes, but there is a full page of stuff that I've been working on today. I take action. So what is it that you can start, stop, and continue? Write it down. And again, sorry, I keep saying again because I feel like I repeat myself all the time, but put it on a sticky note. And then put the sticky note on your monitor. We're all in front of monitors every single day. We got laptop monitors, whatever it might be. Put it on your keyboard, whatever it is that you can look at every single day and go, hey, you know what? I got to give this a priority. I got to give this some credence. We got Hooked on Humanity in the house. What's up, Nelly? Thank you so much for being here. She says, hello, people. My friends are saying hello to one another. We got ENY. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I'm really bad with names. I apologize. This is great to be here. Learn from your genius, Christopher Rausch. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'm glad you can make it. This is definitely an impactful episode. And if you missed the beginning, go back and watch it from the beginning or listen to it from the beginning on the podcast. So let's go back into it. And I appreciate you guys being here. Feel free to ask me questions. I've got Jacqueline in the house. Thank you, Jacqueline, for being here. I appreciate you, girl. I hope you're doing well. So let's go to the next one. This is a new one in my arsenal, and I kind of like it because I'm a visual person. And if you've never heard of what's called mind mapping, it's a brainstorming tool that I use all the time. I use it a ton. It's for me visually, I draw a center circle and it's a main idea or something or a problem or an issue that I'm trying to pick apart. And then all the circles that kind of feed off of it are just me brainstorming, just me thinking out loud. But this one is called quantity over quality. And it's called the 30, I paraphrased it, the 30 circles exercise. So here's what you do. You draw 30 circles and you fill them in with different designs or ideas in a short time. So you're just green lighting. It's called a green light session. You're green lighting your ideas to get them out of your brain onto paper and sit there and go, oh, wow, I didn't expect that to come flying out of my mouth. I didn't expect that to come into my brain. So this, again, promotes idea generation and just another creative way of getting things out. So again, if you're not familiar with it, Google mind mapping. There's apps for it. It's really, really cool. I love it, but there's a ton of brainstorming tools that you can use. Fishbone diagrams, which are excellent. There's so many different ways that you can brainstorm ideas, but my encouragement to you is to stop thinking, stop worrying, stop living in fear, stop procrastinating, stop waiting for it to be perfect. Get off your ass and start fucking doing shit. Start doing shit. Okay, let's go to the next one because I don't want to run out of time. I talk a lot. And speaking of talk, let's just key this one up. Walk and talk. If you guys know me for any length of time, or if you've looked at my YouTube channel, you know I have nearly 1,000 videos on there. And what I used to be known for, and I haven't done it as much in the last couple of years, is I used to do these walk and talk videos. And I started off doing these walk and talk videos where I would just be thinking about something. And then I would think, okay, other people were probably thinking about it too. Let me talk about it out loud on this walk and talk. I would just hold my phone and walk and talk with my dog. There's tons of videos. It's a whole playlist called Walk and Talk. And then I would just riff. It would just be a stream of consciousness, but inevitably it would help a ton of people that were watching. I was just walking and talking. I was in flow. I was outside. It's a different atmosphere. And then what I would be able to do is I would be able to go back and watch that video because inevitably something would come out in my brainstorming to myself that I needed to hear. So usually they were maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes long. Some of them maybe a little bit longer. So for you, take out your phone, right? You have recording apps. You have apps that will transcribe. I will show you this. This is what I used because I did them before. I journaled into this thing for years and years and years and years, almost every day. I plugged it in my computer and I downloaded it and it actually transcribed it. I used a program to transcribe it. So all my journals for like 5 years at least were on here and I transcribed them. So now you can just do it into your phone, transcribe it as you're walking. You don't need to do a video on YouTube, but you're just walking and talking like, okay, today, and I got a lead in for you. So when you press record and just do it, you can delete it afterwards. Nobody has to hear it. You press record and you say, right now I feel frustrated. Right now I feel angry. Right now I feel happy, right? We journal when we're happy, and we're happy because then we can go back and say, okay, especially if you journal on an app, you can sit there and Google, or you could search for when you were happy. And then you can say, what were the things that were happening in my life when I was happy? Oh, wow. I was paying attention to my diet. I was doing 75 hard. I wasn't with that person. I was at a different job. I was on my goals. I was getting up at 5 o'clock every day, whatever it might be. You can look at the things that you were doing and you can make them better. But my point in this exercise is when you go for a walk and talk, man, you get stuff out. Like when you're like in the shower, Like a lot of people get ideas and inspirations in the shower. Why? Or in the car. Why? Because we're not thinking about it. We're not sitting here with pen and paper going, okay, I gotta write a song. I gotta write a book. I gotta write a story. I gotta figure out how to write this letter or this email to this, whatever it is, right? You get out of your element and then all of a sudden the idea just pops into your head like massive inspiration. You go, oh, hey, that one. Oh, hey, that one. You guys getting value out of this? You're digging it? What's up, Jacqueline Rose? She says, it's all in the mindset. Walking with your dog helps you to see things clearly. Yeah. I mean, right now I don't do it as much. People have asked me why you don't do the walk and talks anymore. Because I'm very present. Again, like I said at the top of the podcast, my intention, especially over the last 6 years since I left corporate and kind of left the rat race, and then I left the speaking industry, the professional speaking industry, probably around 2016, 17, when I became a dad. I did not want to be distracted by pursuing my career and also trying to be a great dad. So I let that go for a while. And now the whole speaking industry and everything has changed. Personal development's changed. It's all good because I am in that phase of life where I'm taking a step back and I'm going, hey, what have I been resisting? Or what is it that I've been doing that no longer serves me? Ooh, there you go. There's a question to ask yourself. Excuse me while I get a drink. I've been talking all day. Yeah, there's a question to ask yourself. Here is another one. I'm actually going to do this when this is a brand new in my arsenal. It's called Long-Term Exercise Experiment Month. So this says, pick one new thing each week to start doing that you're curious about and be playful and adventurous with it. When was the last time you were playful and adventurous? I have an 8-year-old kid. He's been growing up this whole time, more so than any time in my life, because I was not a kid person. I've been playful and adventurous, and I'm not perfect at it. I'm not great at it, but I give it my best foot forward. My son's playing Lego characters and I have to come up with a name. My wife is excellent at it. Me, not so much. Not so much. We have our strengths and we have our weaknesses, and it's not so great. But my point is that I try to be playful, and I get in there and I get out of my mind and I get into the moment. And then I think, what would 6-year-old Chris do? What would 8-year-old Chris do? 8-year-old Chris wouldn't worry about staining his pants. He would get on the grass and he would start rolling around and doing it. He wouldn't care about the fucking bugs and the dog poop and everything else. He would just do it. And then I allow myself and I tell myself, just do it. Right. So what are a couple of things that you can do? You don't necessarily have to do one a week. Maybe you could pick 2, right? Oh, I can't do 4. And then people fucking focus on the wrong shit. Let me just say that very emphatically to you people. You focus on the wrong shit. I can't do 4. I've told some people 4 and they're like, 4, that's too much and blah, 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 and that's expensive. Blah, 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 blah. Fucking then stay miserable. Maybe it's 2. Maybe over 2 weeks for the next couple of months, you do something different. You take a summer class through your local YMCA, whatever it might be. We get those summer catalogs and, parks and recreation and all that shit. Maybe you do that. Maybe you do a paint night. Maybe you do a wine and paint night. I don't know. Maybe you take an improv comedy class. Maybe you take an acting class. Maybe you took a coloring class, a drafting class, a singing class, a guitar class. I don't know. Maybe you start a new exercise program in the evening. You start doing CrossFit. I don't know. You pick. This is your thing, but I'm going to do it as well because I need to pick one new thing to start each week that I'm curious about and be playful about. So I'm doing that as well. Here's a cool one. Ask yourself this. What if I believed I was talented enough? What if I believed I was worthy enough? What if I believed nobody's opinions mattered? What if I believed success comes on my terms and not what everybody else thinks success is? What if I believed that everything was happening on purpose and everything that's happened in my life and everything that's happening in my life is preparing me for what's next? Right? What if I believed? I sell these wristbands. I do a shitty job of marketing them, but I sell these wristbands. I wear them. Look at, there they are. Believe on one side, no excuses on the other. And this one says no excuses and unstoppable. So I wear my own shit. Here they are. If you guys want to see them, let me know if you want to order them. They're on my website, ChristopherRausch.com, noexcusescoach.com. You guys can go to the store. They're there. I don't do international shipping though still. But anyways, so what if I believed? I actually literally, I can't turn my camera around, but I have a license plate from Ted Lasso, the TV series, that says believe. I love it. I had to get it when we were on the Universal Studios tour or something like that. Warner Brothers lot. And I'm like, I got to get that. And I'm not a souvenir person at all, but I'm like, I just love that it says believe and it sits right up in front of me. Right. I have this thing sitting in front of me. Sorry for you guys listening on the podcast, but you guys can check this out on the replay on the YouTube channel. I have a graphic that sits in front of me, and it's sat in front of me for decades now. And it says, you never know how close you are. Never give up on your dreams. And it shows one guy that's giving up, and it shows one guy that's still going. And you probably have seen it. So what if I believed that now is the time for me to get off my ass and stop with my excuses? And there's a particular individual that might be listening to this tonight, and I'm hoping she hears this. Because she's afraid of starting. She's afraid of making a mistake. She's afraid of being wrong. Stop being afraid. You're right. And if you are incorrect, then you learn and you come back and you say, hey, you know what? Last week on the episode, I talked about blah, 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 blah. But thank you to viewer blah, 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 blah for pointing it out to me that I was incorrect. And now I'd like to share with you what's absolutely correct about this and how I can think about this in a different way. And I've done this on the podcast, right? For those of you guys that might be new, this is episode number 317. So I've been doing this for 6 years, over 6 years. January was our 6-year anniversary. We've got 316 episodes that are already done. That's 316 hours of me talking, teaching, sharing, being vulnerable, interviewing a ton of guests that were absolutely amazing. This year, I haven't been doing hardly any guests. I'm going to kind of get back into that because I miss it. I don't like sitting here talking directly for this long unless I'm on stage in front of people. It feels kind of awkward still, even though I've been doing it for a while. So let's continue on. 26 minutes. We're doing good, right? That's what we're doing. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Let me check out if there's any comments here. The comments. You guys are always well invited to comment. Nelly says here, she goes, speaking ideas and writing them are such powerful tools. Yes. Doing this thing? No. Like literally, I have, this is kind of fun. So I have a cool little pen holder, and I have pens. I have pens that I like to write with. I have a blue pen, a black pen, a red pen. I've got colored markers for my dry erase board that sits in front of me. I've got highlighters all within my reach. And that if I want to be specific and intentional, that I can be colorful and playful with my paper, with my ideas, with what I need to prioritize. What is the needle mover? So yes, speaking things and putting them on paper, making a dream board, all of that stuff is powerful because you're setting in motion the act of agreement. You make a psychological agreement when you pick the pen up and you write it down. It's kind of like, ooh. It's kind of like you do the walk and talk. Ooh, I just said that out loud. Maybe you say, I need to talk to my husband because I'm just not happy anymore. Again, thinking about the honesty. You mother truckers got to be honest with yourself. Be honest, right? Are you happy? Yes or no? No, I'm not happy. Okay, what's the one thing that by which doing so I can become a little bit happier? Maybe I can talk better to myself. Maybe I can go invest in myself and get a therapist. Right? So many people blow my mind. They're not seeing therapy. They're not getting coaches. They're sitting there and you can do it alone, but you're going to get to the end of the road, or you're going to get to the end of your life and you're going to go, fuck, man, I wish I would have asked people for help. I wish I would have done it sooner, because now you're just kind of, you get there mentally, like where I'm at, but then your body starts going a little bit south. Unfortunately, I've taken care of myself all of my life. Vitamins and exercise. I haven't been the greatest eater, and I used to drink quite a bit. Had a lot of fun. But so now at 56 years old, my focus is on my health. My focus is like, how can I get another 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, whatever it might be, because those make a big difference. You know, not when you're 22, you're like, whatever, I'll deal with that later on. But when you get older, you got to sit there and, man, I got to keep this beast going. Let's go. Right. And obviously drink your water, mother truckers. Look at my cool thing. It's got love. It's got puppy dogs. Kindness is free. All the stickers that are on my coffee mug, or my water mug. I don't drink coffee. I always forget that I'm doing a podcast because I'm always live here with you guys. Robert says here, he goes, last time I was playful and adventurous this morning. Nice. Keep it clean, Robert. Keep it clean. Jacqueline says, sometimes you have to take a leap of faith and trust in the process and enjoy the life you are living. Fucking A. So true. So true. Right? We're so enamored with, when I get money, when I get looks, when I lose the weight, when I find the man, when I get the job, when I start the business, when I get the couch, when I paint the house, when I buy the house, when I sell the house, then I'll be happy. And I hear a lot of people say that. And I also hear a lot of people say, I wish I would have done it sooner. I hear that a lot. And when I hear it, it's like, boom, 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 boom. It comes bellowing through my head. And my first question usually is, why did it take you until now to do it? And most of the time is I wasn't just ready. I wasn't ready, or I didn't want it bad enough. And so that's something to think about. Like, maybe you don't want something bad enough anymore. Maybe you did. Maybe that was your pursuit. I got to get the book done. I got to, like, you know, for me, I got to get the book done. I started writing that book in 2020. It's 2025 and it's still not done. And I'm okay with that. You know, I was beating the shit out of myself. I'm like, oh, Chris, you got to go back and edit it. It'll be out when it's out. It'll be out at that time for that purpose and that reason. And I'm good with that. And that's what I'm talking about here, guys, is be good with that and be like, hey, you know, that's a release. That's a big release to sit there and say, I don't have to do this. Oh my God, I have to do this. I promised everybody it would be out. I feel like an idiot. I said it, blah, 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 whatever. It's like I did a TikTok video the other day. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. When it comes out, it comes out. It's a fucking book. It's not like it's going to fucking, you know, I know it's going to change lives, but realistically, is it going to fucking become a movie? Is it going to become all those things? I'm okay if it does, and I'm okay if it doesn't. And before I wasn't okay if it wasn't. And so now I kind of am. And so now let's kind of get into the back half of this conversation where I'm going to share some questions with you, because you guys know I love questions. When you ask the right questions, guys, and your answer is honest, and you write that question out and you take action on it, you change. Let me see what the other comments are. Happiness comes from within. 100% happiness comes from a choice. Robert says here, he puts a question mark. So happiness comes from a choice. Absolutely. And I will tell you the choice. In those moments when you're feeling that you're not happy, you're feeling less than, you're feeling whatever it might be, what can I be grateful for? I can be grateful for the the air I breathe. I can be grateful for the air conditioning working right now because it's 100 degrees here in Riverside. I can be grateful for the fact that I have technology to be able to connect with you guys every single week and do this podcast for 6 years. I'm grateful for the fact that my son's downstairs with his mom having a good time, and we're going to have dinner after the show's over. I'm grateful for the fact that I have a beautiful bedroom that I can sleep in and enjoy resting. I'm grateful for the fact that I get another chance. I'm grateful for the fact that I have literally all the answers to any question that I would ever possibly have in my hand, and yet I don't ask them. Does happiness come from a choice? 100% dude. Is it easy? No, I'm not going to tell you it's easy, but I'm going to tell you it's worth it. I'm going to tell you it's worth it, because when you make that choice and that decision that you're going to let go of old beliefs that don't no longer serve you, when you decide that you're no longer going to tolerate shit from other people and shit from yourself and shit from inanimate objects like the dishwasher not working or the whatever it might be that you've tolerated over and over and over and over and over and over again, the light switch that doesn't work, which happened to me, which is the reason why I talk about this shit now, because I had a light switch that didn't work for 2 fucking years. I had to pound on the wall. I had to jiggle it in my bathroom. And then one day I said, motherfucker, I'm going to fix you. And I got on the interwebs and I sat there and I said, okay, how do I change a light switch? And then I did it. And then 45 minutes later, all said and done, going to Home Depot, standing in line, parking and everything else, and coming back, my light switch worked every time. And oh God, I wish I would have done this sooner. And every time I walked into the bathroom, I was just like fucking magic. And guess what? It cost me less than a couple bucks. But I'd put up with it and I tolerated it. And every time I went to the bathroom, I'm like, fuck, I should fix that. Oh, I hope it doesn't cause a fire. 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 Didn't fucking change it. If my house burned down, guess what? Me. I can't be mad at anybody else. And that comes from a choice as well. If you're giving up your happiness to somebody else, that person wronged me, I need an apology from them. You know, they fucked me up and none of that. That's a choice. That is a choice. That's called being a victim. Are you a victim? Yes or no? Ask yourself, am I a victim? No, I'm not a victim. I'm fucking strong. I'm unstoppable. I may have had some shaky moments in the world, but right now I'm going to choose to be strong. I'm going to choose to see myself as a winner. I'm going to choose to get myself out there and do the things that I've been saying I'm going to do. I'm going to keep my promises to myself. Think about it. So let me go back to my little document here, because it's not necessarily raw and unscripted tonight, because I have some stuff that is scripted. So here are some questions or some prompts, as I like to call them, that you can use for shifting your perspective. So again, you might want to write this down, or you can always come back to the audio or video. So here's a question. If failure wasn't an option, what would I go after right now? And the first thing I thought when I wrote that question down, whenever I did it, is it's pretty cliche. But how about you write it down? And how about you say, if failure wasn't an option, I would set my room up and I would do my YouTube video and I would get it out there and I would just fail until I got it right. And I call it, learning opportunities. So what's that thing that you've been waiting for? If failure was an option, if I believed, right? Like I said before, here's another question. And I like this one for me. In 3 years, what do I want my life to feel like every day? And that's something I want to do. I used to do things in more 5-year, 10-year chunks, but now it's about down to 3 years and even 90 days, as short as 90 days. So in 3 years, what do I want my life to feel like every day? Right? And here's another exercise. I didn't write this down, but I forgot about it. But again, write down what it is that your perfect day is. Right? We're just surviving the day. We're just trying to get through the day. But what is it that you can do instead of surviving through the day, thrive through the day? Like when you get up in the morning, I'm grateful for getting up today. Man, I'm grateful for the fact that I get to push myself in uncomfortable ways so that I grow, so that when I go to sleep tonight, I can feel proud. How about that? And saying what you're grateful for, setting the intention to fucking kick ass every day, and then go to sleep and say, man, did I kick ass today? I'm proud of myself. I did a killer podcast. I had some great conversations. I was a good dad. I got some shit done around the house. Yeah, I feel good. Man, I'm grateful for my bed. Ooh, I love my bed. Oh, my pillow. Thank you, my wife, for my pillow, my new pillow. Whatever it is, right? Stay in that lane. Because oftentimes we're focused on what we don't have and we're bitching about what we don't have. I don't have this. I don't have that. I don't have that. Yeah, you don't. It is what it is. So what the fuck are you going to do? I'm so frustrated with people and their gaga and their excuses. That's the reason why I came up with the moniker, the known tag of being the no excuses coach, because I wanted people to know right away, like, that's what you're getting with me. That's what you're getting with me. Here's another question or a prompt, if you like. What's something new you would like to try? Man, I'd really like to try cooking. I really like to try baking. I really like to try making bread. I really like to, and I say these things so fast because they're the things that people tell me. Right? My coaching clients, or just people in general. People just tell me the story. They don't know what I do. And they tell me all sorts of stuff. They're like, man, you're really easy to talk to. What do you do? And I'm like, actually, I'm a mindset coach. I'm like, oh, what's that? And I'm like, I help people shift their beliefs about being a victim into being a victor, or whatever I say. I don't have an elevator speech. I tell people, whatever I feel in that moment. Here's another question. Well, whose permission have I been waiting for? And why do I still need it? Maybe you're waiting for your wife, for your husband to secretly kind of, yeah, you should do that. I need their support. A lot of times we do look at our parent or our spouses or our significant others some way like our parent. And there is some truth to the fact that we often marry our mom if we're guys, or we marry our dad if we're girls. There's a lot of truth to that. I've seen that so many times. It's not even funny. I don't even need to do research. I just talk to people. I'm like, describe to me your husband. Oh, he's like this. He's like this. He's like this. And then I wait. What was it like growing up with your dad? And then they don't put the 2 and 2 together. And then they tell me about their dad. And I'm like, you realize that your husband is a lot like your dad? Or your wife's a lot like your mom? Oh, fuck. I never considered that. Right. That's why you hired me, because I get to see things from a different perspective. So whose permission have I been waiting for, and why do I still need it? And if you're digging this, do me a solid and share it. Share the audio, share the podcast, share the website, rawandunscripted.com, www.rawandunscripted.com. It's spelled out. I just put my brand new license plate frames. I'm going to take pictures of them and put them on social media, but I just got personalized license plate frames that say www.rawandunscripted.com on my brand new truck, which I not even told anybody about my brand new truck, but yeah, I got a brand new truck. Let's keep going. Here's a couple of ones that I highlighted for myself, because I'm always constantly adding these things to my arsenal. And this is probably one I had before, but it's what story outdated and holding me back. Again, the question is, what story about myself is outdated and holding me back? Then who would I be without this holding me back? right? Who would I be if I didn't have the fear of doing the video? Who would I be if I didn't have the fear of what my husband might say? Who would I be if I didn't have the fear if I stood up to my coworker and told her to fucking stop moving my lunch in the refrigerator, you goddamn bitch? Not that I've heard that anywhere. Yeah, and I just told him, I said, somebody's stealing. Well, I had one person tell me somebody was stealing their lunch, and I said, put a fucking shitload of X-Lax in there and whatever it is that you make, and then stick around the restroom and see who goes in there and floods it. It wasn't always sweet. Here's another question to ask yourself. What stories am I telling myself about who I should be that are keeping me confused? I hope these are new ones for you, because I tried to change the way I write my questions, to change the way it is you think about. Change what it is that you think about. Some of these questions might appear to be the same, but they may click with you, the listener, the viewer. They may click with you in a different way. So what stories am I telling myself about who I should be that are keeping me confused? So you can ask yourself, what am I confused about? I really don't think I'm confused about anything. Okay, good. Congratulations. Keep going. Make sure you share that shit with other people who might be confused. Let's all make the world a better place. Here's another question for you. Who do I need to become to live the life I say I want? Who do I need to become to live the life I say I want? So for me, if I wanted to be a professional speaker, what does a professional speaker do? Probably gets up in the morning, probably makes sure that they're preparing their speeches and they're crafting it, and they're getting out there and they're networking, and they're going to business networking events locally in their community, and they're getting chances to speak, and then they're getting videos, and they're creating sizzle reels, and they're doing this and doing this. What would a speaker be? A speaker would be confident. A speaker would be well-spoken. A speaker would perhaps be working with a speaking coach, a writing coach, things of that nature. So think about that. Well, who do I need to become in order to have the life I want? And I'll rephrase it a little bit differently. And I call it acting as if, right? Not fake it till you make it, but acting as if. So when you think about it, if you're acting as if you are already a leader, you're already a manager, you're already an accountant, you're already a web designer, if you're acting as if you already are that person without being arrogant, right? How would I carry myself? How will I carry myself when I am successful? How will I be when my business is making six figures? How will I be when my relationships are better? And then start acting as if, and stop being a miserable fuck, right? So there you have that. Where are we at on time? 42 minutes. We're doing good. Here is another one. Man, I'm giving you a ton of them tonight. I like this. I'm excited about this. This is, I was sitting there trying to think of what kind of podcast I was going to do, and this is working out. So here's another question. What would it look like to give myself a 90-day season of exploration and non-decision making? So let me say that again a little bit slower. What would it look like to give myself a 90-day season of exploration, not decision making? So again, if you're in your 40s, 50s, and 60s, and you're sitting there kind of thinking, man, I've been going hard in the paint, maybe I'm going to give myself 3 months and I'm just going to get off the gas. And I won't use my example as this, like if I wanted to get off the gas, I could say, I'm not going to do my podcast for 90 days. If I was in limbo about it and I wasn't sure about it, okay, I'm going to put it on hiatus for 90 days. I'm going to take the summer off, and I'm not going to think about my podcast. I'm not going to think about the numbers. If the numbers decline, it is what it is. I'm going to go out there and enjoy my life. I'm going to give myself a vacation away from all of that, so that perhaps at the end of the 90 days, I could go back and I could go, you know what? I really missed this. And now I have a couple of different ideas of how I can shift it to keep my excitement up, right? If you're thinking about it in terms of whatever it is might be in your life, I'm trying to give you a parallel. Or you get to the end of the 90 days and you're like, yeah, you know what? I don't miss it. And that's what I did with my live radio show. I had a live radio show that I did for 5 years, and I got to the point where I was really bored of it. And I said, I'm going to put it on hiatus. And I figured I was going to give it a month or two. And then I just didn't miss it. And I was like, I think I said what I needed to say on that one. And then I started the Raw Unscripted Podcast, not a live radio show, but the radio show went to a podcast. And then I started doing this thing called podcasting. And then I started interviewing more people and all these different things. And I was open to the flow of the journey. But sometimes we need a break. I did that in 2016 when I got the tattoo on my arm that says, "What doesn't kill me only makes me stronger." I said, you know what? I'm not going to coach anymore. I'm not going to worry about any of that shit. I'm going to be a normal person. I'm going to work my 9-to-5 job. I'm going to come home and I'm going to sit on the couch and I'm going to watch sports and I'm going to put my hand in the front of my pants like Al Bundy did on Married with Children. I know you guys dig that. And I did that for a while. I had to go through the valley of the dark soul. and go through some shit. And then on the other side of it, I was like, okay, I needed to learn some stuff. I needed to be quiet. I needed to let life happen and me be receptive to sit there and say, okay, again, at this juncture in 2016, what am I supposed to be growing through? What is it that what lessons am I supposed to be learning right now? And that was a big shift for me, those couple of years. And then 2019 happened. And then I left my corporate job in October of 2019. And then COVID happened in March of 2020. And then we were with that for a couple of years. And I've been being a dad and I've done a bunch of things in between that I haven't even told you guys about. So there we go. Let's keep going. Then I'm going to wrap this up. What's your favorite question to ask yourself? Type it in the chat. Type it in the chat. The chat's up on the screen. I don't know if you guys can see the chat. Can you guys see the chat? This little thing right over here on the right side of my screen. I see it. Can you see it? Is that distracting? Davey Williams in the house. What up? He goes a little late. Sorry. Go back and check out the beginning of this motherfucker. You're gonna dig it. This one's I'm hyped up about this one. So go back and check it out. You will definitely enjoy it, my friend. I appreciate you. If you guys don't know, Davey Williams was on the show. I don't have the exact show number, but he was on this year, I believe. Wasn't it this year, brother? Yeah, I think it was. So go check out Davey Williams. Thank you, brother. I appreciate being here. I love seeing you in the picture of you and Chris back together and kind of the difference in years. I saw that on social media. So yeah. So let me grab a couple of last ones and then we'll wrap up this particular conversation. But again, at the beginning of the show, I talked about a video that I watched that I posted in the comments up at the top about shedding old desires, being in the middle, being uncomfortable with being in the middle, being, just trying to figure yourself out. But I'll get to the close in a second, but I want to give you a couple more of these questions that you guys can use. Here's another question. What's trying to emerge in my life that I might be resisting? And I talked about resisting before, so that's just another question for that. What do I definitely not want anymore? What do I not want anymore? And then the follow-up question to that is, what does that tell me about me? If I don't want that anymore, what is that telling me about me? That maybe I don't need the validation, I don't need the approval, whatever it might be truthful with yourself. But also say, what is it you don't want anymore? I don't want any more bullshit in my life, toxic people in my life. I know people who have been, weeding out toxic people in their life, and they're like, man, it hurt and it sucked and I feel bad and I feel guilty and I feel like I'm being better than them and all these different things. But then they say, oh, I wish I would have done it sooner. You're right. You guessed it. I wish I would have done it sooner. Boom, 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 boom. So let's wrap that. I gave you a lot of shit, guys, a lot of stuff. So here's my homework assignment to you. Do a couple of the exercises and answer a couple of the questions on your own. You don't have to tell me the answers, but I would love it if you would send me a private message over the Ticker Talker or the Facebook or Instagram, whatever it might be that you're watching this on, YouTube, LinkedIn. Send me a little message and I'm going to give it a week. Whatever it is, like if you're going to do a couple of exercises and a couple of questions, give yourself 7 days and keep it in front of you and be intentional, devote time, sit in silence, right? When's the last time you sat in silence? Oh God, Chris, I'm uncomfortable with silence. Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm uncomfortable with silence too. I talk a fucking lot. I talk a lot. Ask my wife. She's probably, God damn, he talks a lot. Lisa, what's up? Lisa, thanks for the invite. Oh, thank you. Thank you for inviting people. Appreciate that. Lisa, welcome. Appreciate you stopping by the Raw Unscripted show. If you just got here, go back and check out the beginning of the show, whether you listen or watch the podcast or listen to the podcast or watch the video cast. Tons of great stuff in here. We're wrapping up here right now. I've been going since the top of the hour, so you get 48 minutes of me plus this little closing. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you guys. Any other comments? Let me make sure before I start wrapping up a little bit. I was on fire tonight. Yeah. Nelly says here, my neighbor needs me. I have to go. I'm sorry. No, you could always come back. You could always go back. You can always, I want to go back and do it all over, but I can't go back. I know. I really know. I'm just fucking with you. So there you can see I'm in a good mood when I'm charged up. It relates to you, but that again, I can get you charged up. I can get you like, man, that's a great question. Fuck, Chris, that was a great question. Oh my God, that's a great exercise. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm still here. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Let me ask you this question. If you had $100, let's not even be funny with the $1. If you had $100 for every time you said, I'm going to do that and didn't, Can you imagine how much money you would have? But more importantly, if you would have done the thing that you said you were going to do, where would you be? Oh, he didn't just go there. Yeah, I did just go there. Regrets suck, guys. And time is going by faster than ever, right? The one thing we can't buy, the one thing we can't get back is time. And you're going to age, and you're going to get wrinkles, and your skin's going to get thinner, and your body's going to hurt, and your sleep's going to start to suck, and your bladder is going to be fucked up. And eventually you might get a disease and die. Yes, you will. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to take responsibility for? What are you going to have discipline for over in your life to stop putting the sugar in your mouth? I know I should stop. I know I should cut down. I know it, but you keep fucking doing it. And then all of a sudden you wind up being diabetic and you're pissed off. Or you can't touch your toes anymore. Or you can't fucking, you're out of breath putting your shoes on. Right. And I'm not making light of that. But what are you doing to fix it? Have you cut out carbs? Have you stopped eating wheat and gluten and dairy? Have you had a food sensitivity test? Have you had an allergy test? Have you gone to the doctor to get your blood test? And I will tell you this, guys, I just did my blood test. I'm late. I used to do my blood test, my CBC panel, plus other ones 4 times a year. And I've gotten completely lazy. I will raise my hand and say it. My physical, usually I do in November, December, do the CBC panel, thyroid panel, testosterone, all that stuff. I didn't do it until just last week, or pretty much a couple of weeks ago. And I found out that I might be anemic. I found out some other shit with my iron, and like that's all tied together, but it was kind of surprising. So make sure you're doing your blood test and make sure you're versed on what it is that's going on in your body, right? That responsibility word. Don't play the someday game and think that just because you're doing good now, you're actually going to continue to do good, because you might not. And then you'll get to that phase where you sit there, man, I wish I would have ate better. I wish I would have exercised. I wish I wouldn't have tolerated my fucking husband bitching at me for 20 years. I wish I would have quit my job sooner. Right? What is it for you? So again, if you came into this video cast a little bit late, go back and listen to this again. Watch it again. Take notes, put it down, and sit there and make yourself an action plan and stick to it. Or say, hey, Chris, I can't do it on my own anymore. I want to join your group coaching program. I want to work with you one-on-one. And then I promise you will get results. But if you continue to doing it on your own and hoping and wishing and praying and surviving and all that different stuff, I applaud you. Right? I've done a lot of things on my own. I've been very successful with it, but I'm very, very driven. And I'm very, very keen on what my excuses are and overcoming them, whether it's the pain, whether it's the inconvenience, whatever it might be. And you got to do that for yourself. You got to want it bad enough. And if you don't want it bad enough, this might be the phase of your life where you're taken again, you're looking at everything and you're going, does this really matter to me? In the grand scheme of things, what's most important? Like I really realized for a long time, I didn't want to die with the world not knowing who I was and making this big impact. And, you know, having known that my story of being homeless and living on the streets and all the stuff that I've been through, that's going to eventually come out in my book, that it wasn't for naught. It wasn't for nothing. But when I remind myself, I've told that story on so many podcasts and TV shows, some TV shows way back in the day. I've told that story so much, and it's impacted so many people. It may not be in the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal or whatever it might be, but it's with the hearts of people that I've impacted that go, man, that fucking dude. Just like people do it for me, like my friend Unstoppable Tracy that's going to be on the show. All the different people that I think about in my life, I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it. If David Goggins can do it, I can do it. Right? Who are the people that inspire you in your life? Or said differently, who can you inspire in your life? Be the light, be the inspiration, be the change. Get some friends together and say, hey, let's knock this off. Let's knock the drinking off. Let's go 90 days without drinking. Let's challenge each other. I barely drink anymore. And I feel great. I don't have to wake up and be feeling hungover. I don't have to spend 3 days feeling like shit. I'm not running away from my problems anymore. I'm addressing them. I'm learning how to have fun without alcohol. It's growth. It's change. It's awkward, but it's beautiful. I love you guys. Please share this podcast out. We're going to be back here next week, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Tuesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think we have another solo show. We have somebody coming up, but again, let me know. The email, info@noexcusescoach.com. Send me an email, send me a message. Let me know what topics you want me have on the show, what you want me to talk about. I'm here to serve you. If there's people that you want, that you feel like it would be inspirational, send them my way, introduce them to me. I'll have them on the Raw Unscripted show. We'll have a conversation. We'll continue to lift each other up. So come back here every single week. And if you do 3 or 4 things from each episode, I promise you your life will change. But if you come here and you get inspired and you don't do anything, I promise you you'll have regrets. Ladies and gentlemen, No Excuses Coach, signing off.